Hey, T-Suppers. Hey, 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 hey. Hey, T-Suppers. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey. Looks like more distractions going on before I can get to, I mean, not confusion, the awakening of truth about who called the hit allegedly on. Hey, Ursula. Hey, Ursula. How you doing? On Charlie Kirk and why? And it's funny because it's coming from one of Epstein's bad boys, kind of co-signing Candace Owens. I mean, she put it out there, baby, and hey, Vicky. Hey, precious. Vicky made me go to church yesterday, y'all. No. No, but we definitely went there. And has she not been bold enough? I've been sick, but I'm back. I miss my auntie. Well, I'm glad you feeling better. I am so glad you're feeling better. God is good, ain't he? Won't he do it? Won't he do it? There's a lot of sickness going on, you know. I definitely don't want to go off into my new awakening with everything that I'm finding out. You know, one thing is for sure. I will say this. Charlie Kirk's assassination woke up a lot. It exposed a lot. I think it exposed more than they thought it was going to expose. I think that they had, in their minds, they had to shut him down. His voice was too big. And because they knew that they was going to position it a particular way, as if he was some form of MLK or something, you know, on those lines, that and I'm sure they knew that it wouldn't go over well with people. They were probably expecting a riot, a spiritual riot, as well as a race riot. And because it had the potential to be that. However, God is good, and he came in and shifted the winds of evil another way. Woo, that was good. That was good. Because I ain't know how it was going to come out. Yeah. He shifted the winds the opposite way. Yeah. Destruction as planned will swing around and tear you down. Y'all ain't no good. I ain't no good. Yeah. And what it has done was made us aware of things we were not paying attention to. I got myself sitting up. Yeah. Yes. That is what is coming out of his assassination. Yes, indeed, baby. It allowed us to see the wickedness right in front of our face. Can I get a witness? Yeah. That's what it has allowed us to do in every sense. Now, before, exposure was coming. And because the tricks of the devil have been popping up here and all over the place, so that we would continue to be deceived and their disguise would not be revealed. It has caused so much turmoil amongst the cult that was plotting against us. So I want to say to Charlie Kirk, your death was not in vain. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because he was being torn spiritually, emotionally, and physically. See, this is why I say at times we can't play with the devil. We just cannot play with the devil, because you never know how far he'll take you. And when you want to stop playing with him, he not finished playing with you. You just can't let go when you want to let go, when you play with the devil. See, all deals ain't good deals, and all money ain't good money. But the root of it is evil. And if the root of it ain't God, and it's telling you the root of it is evil, where does that leave us, that desire to be rich? What does that mean to us who desire to be rich? And I think sometimes about the spiritual message that says that it is easier for a camel to squeeze through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven. It's like, Lord, it is easier for a camel to squeeze through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven. But we so desire, as Christians and not, to be rich. So it's already telling us with that comes temptation. Baby, I can oh Lord, I can go some places with this, and I wasn't even planning on it, because we have those desires, and sometimes what we pray for, we do not really fully understand the journey in which we would have to go in order to pass the test to receive what we pray for. I mean, one of the hardest journeys for me was a prayer for peace. Not fully understanding that when I asked for God to give me spiritual peace in my life, I did not factor in the test in which I would have to go through in order to reach peace. So I'm just saying, thank God I made it, but I am not going to act as if it was easy. I'm not going to act as if it was a beautiful journey. I'm not going to even mislead like that. It was not a sight of beauty to get there. It just wasn't. Thank God I made it. I lost a lot along the way, though. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest. And when I say I lost a lot, I'm not necessarily talking about material things. Because when we ask for certain prayers, we just are not factoring in everybody in our lives that may be disturbing your peace, unbeknownst to you, if that makes sense to anybody. So imagine the heartbreak. The heartbreak of the truth that there were red flags and there were signs, but you just didn't want to believe that. And I'm gonna park that right there so I won't get off track. I had to learn that well. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. So I say that to say, we have to be mindful of the things that we pray for, the test that we have to pass before we get it. I was naive to think that just because I asked it, that it was just going to be granted. I was spiritually naive. Hi, Audrey. Baby, I was spiritually naive to just think, well, Lord, you say, because I talk to God like he right here, and like he my friend, God, you said in your word that if I abide in you and you abide in me, I can ask you what I may. Huh? Ain't it what it said in the word? Yeah. Yeah. I'm asking you, Lord. I'm asking you, Lord. I'm looking at the gifts, Lord, and you say that it's better to have wisdom. I'm asking for wisdom. I'm asking for peace. I'm asking for these things. I'm asking for these things that I think is removing the selfish me out of me, removing me. He said that the I must die in order that Christ may live. So, Lord, I'm just asking to remove those things that are contrary and bless me with these. Yeah. Was I trying to hustle God? What? I just didn't know. So I don't think I pray now for God that to be rich. Any way you bless me, Lord, I'll be satisfied. If that's in my journey that has already been predestined, then it will be so. But for it to just be a desire of my heart, and I already know that you're telling me that it's going to be hard, it's harder for a camel, and I know what it's saying. I know it's talking about going. I know that, but it's it's symbolic of how hard it's going to be. Yeah, and my faith would then kind of shift a little, because I just don't know nobody who is that wealthy that sometimes don't think that it was them, their self, that got them where they are financially without God. Sometimes people forget. He can hear me, Argent. Yeah. And sometimes we have to take ownership of what we've asked for. Sometimes those tribulations and trials and tribulations are a part of our prayer. It's just not an easy, smooth sailing drive. Now, I used to think that. I was spiritually naive. But I'm spiritually in tune enough now to count it all joy. The good and what some may perceive as bad, I count it all joy. And before I go, just in case somebody in the back is saying, well, how AunTeaFee, how you count it? Yeah, because the fruits in the fruit of the spirits, in the list of them, all of them seem good and tasteful, loving and caring, except one. It was always one to me before I got spiritually tuned, fine-tuned, that seemed out of place. And when I see the new NIV or these other newer Bibles to break it down a little easy, it fascinates me sometimes that they found another word to use to substitute long-suffering. All of them are the same. Joy, peace, all of them are the same, except long-suffering. Now, why is that? Why is that? Why is that one tampered with? Because it seemed out of place. I know, because I used to have a hard time with long-suffering. How is that of good fruit? So when I say we have to count it all joy, because God said in it, in the fruit, in the goodness, in the growth, there will be suffering. Did Christ not suffer for you? Did he not sacrifice for you? Did he not have to go through things on earth for you to have eternal life to those who believe in him and accept him? So yes, we count it all joy. Okay? That was for the ones who missed that good old sermon yesterday. Lord, I'm telling you, this right here, to some may be a blessing and a curse. I think it's a curse to those who are being exposed, and a blessing to those who now have ear to hear and eyes to see. Because there was a lot that was going on that we didn't pay any attention to. And they was tricking us. They was deceiving us right in our face, right in front of us. And we had no earthly. This is why we can't believe the propaganda. This is why I know why I'm really particular about coming over here spreading that fake stuff. I'm really funny about that. Don't come over here lying. Take it on over there. Because there's a lot of fake propaganda going on. Okay? Okay, good people? Now come on, hit the like button. Let's move in. It's a lot of trickery going on. And it's a lot of it's a lot of cover up. It's a lot of distraction. Now Trump is going back after Letitia James. Yeah, his enemies. Bible said, pray for those who trespass against you. If somebody did something to Trump that bad, in order, what he's supposed to do is a lot. If he a Christian, but he say he ain't, right? So he gonna take on the devil horns, and he gonna get them back. Now, truth be told, these people ain't done nothing to him, other than to stop him or expose him or saw him for who he really is, and he don't like it. So I'm gonna get you back. And we got to be careful with that one, because God said vengeance is mine. So Miss James, I know as you going through this, and I know you don't know me from a can of paint, but let God fight your battles. Flip the script and pray for him. Ask God to continue to show him for who he really is. Lord, I know this attack is not of you, it is of the devil. And the devil don't ever want to be exposed. So these tricks, we gonna call it what it is. They are tricks of the devil. He come to kill, steal, and destroy. Yeah, he is a master of destruction. And Satan, you are a lie, and the truth ain't in you. So trust God to fight your battles. That's what he said. He said, you take on my yoke. My yoke is easy, and my burdens are light. This is just a temporary. Pass the test and let God handle him. Pass the test and let God handle him. Tell him you covered by the blood, and the blood still works. He's attacking so that he will not be exposed for being a part of a child, female, human trafficking, mostly of minors. Okay? Okay, T-Sippers, let's move forward. I'm coming back later with Letitia. I'm just going to touch bases on what just happened. She's been indicted.
I mean, this is not how it's supposed to work, right? Crimes are investigated by investigators who then bring them to prosecutors who then make these difficult assessments of whether or not there's enough evidence to indict and prevail in a courthouse. This seems to be going the opposite direction.
Pattern.
And I know the adaptive mind likes to say, well, no jury will convict, but that's not really the point today, is it?
No.
Right. That's right. I'm going to give some embroidery just because I'm a legal nerd on the sort of incredible reporting and the synopsis from Carol. One is we will know whether there's an indictment because the return, the sort of voting, once it has happened, the handing up of that indictment,
hey to everyone that's come in,
will be done in open court. It has to be legally. And so it's not something that that we will be sort of surprised by, you know, weeks or months later. It is something that they will see actually being handed up. And so we should be expecting that if they manage to get the vote. In terms of the way things are supposed to happen, there is a Department of Justice rule that clearly is being violated, in my view, certainly in the James Comey case, and based on the reporting from Carol Lettig in this case as well. When a prosecutor goes to the grand jury, it is true that all that you need to show to the grand jury is that you have probable cause. Think of that as maybe 20% chance. It's a low standard. And all
Bondi
you have to do
did
is
not
meet that
stand
threshold,
next to Trump.
and you only have
She
to get
was
a
3 arms
majority
late.
of the grand jurors. So
Because
that's
the
12 out
reality of it
23.
is that this trickery, this evilness, this out of order, this breaking of the law that they are doing when he is removed or when his time is up, they will have to stand in front of the judge. just like Giuliani, just like that other cat. I can't think of his name. There were people in his administration, uh, in his administration, that went to prison, breaking laws, following him instead of following the law, and he's exempt. He was exempt. And what he was found guilty of and not covered by his title, he want us to pay for it. He already stealing. So now he want to break these laws that is not covered, and he want us, we the people that he's stealing from, that he's not making first, yeah, that he's trying to bring on a war on U.S. soil. He want us to pay for that too. Rigged all over the place. Supreme Court, the election. But remember now, we have to be mindful. He said when he asked for the Christians to vote that you won't have to vote again. He has no plan on leaving. He plans on inciting a war. And if there's a war at the time of, there won't be an election, and he'll still be in office because he's breaking the law. He's rigging it. Okay, let's go.
Usually, to agree. But DOJ, the Department of Justice, has a rule, and it's a really important rule, which is that you do not present a case to the grand jury and indict somebody unless you are like a good faith, reasonable belief based on the facts that you can win at trial. In other words, that you are going to be able to prove your case beyond a reasonable doubt. The reason for that rule is precisely so you don't have the James Comey situation and now the Letitia James situation if she is indicted, where you have this period where
they say she's indicted
somebody to an indictment, but it is so clear in everything we know to date about the evidence in both the Comey case and the Letitia James case that they will never be able to meet that. That is why you're seeing career people say no. And you actually, in the case of Vinter Siebert, it was not a career person. It was a Trump appointee who said no. And that's because that's how you're built. You're built at the Department of Justice that you are supposed to base things on the facts and the law. And so what we're unfortunately going to see is the courts and juries pushing back, but we do not have any resistance within the White House, and we certainly don't see it at the Department of Justice at the leadership level, where they should be imposing their own rule in these cases.
Andrew Weissman, what is a declination memo? And when they're drafted and it's made public that they
on
exist,
bogus cases,
how can they be used by?
But let me say this. It's also showing, did I hit the wrong button? I hit the wrong button. That a lot of times people are charged and found guilty on frivolous lawsuits.
A lot of victim or a target.
A lot of people in jail and prosecuted falsely.
Great question. So one of the things that you do when you're at the department is if you're going to go forward or if you're not going to go forward, you write that up. And so if you go forward, you write a prosecution memo and you lay out all of the pros and cons, the law and the facts. The same thing if you are not going to go forward, you'd write a declination memo and you'd write out what the legal problems are, what the factual problems are, why it is that you think you should not go forward. Those memos are the kind of thing that Pat Fitzgerald, the lawyer who you referenced, Nicole, a revered lawyer, highly respected at the department and elsewhere, former U.S. attorney in Chicago, That is something that he is clearly going to seek, and he referenced yesterday in the arraignment of James Comey, because that is a lawyer who's going to say that this is vindictive prosecution. That is
Facts.
a legal doctrine for you were singled out based on either a statutory or constitutional basis that you have been targeted. Obviously, this is a poster child for targeting. I mean, if it's not here, when? And what you are going to ask for if you're a defense counsel is discovery on that. I am confident that the Department of Justice is going to fight that like crazy, because that discovery could be highly embarrassing to the department and to the White House. But that declination memo will be part of the discovery that they ask for. In addition, they will ask for all of the communications between the White House and Mr. Siebert and Ms. Halligan and anyone else.
He has a list.
James
Remember,
Comey,
he has
or
a
in this
list
case,
of people.
Letitia James is indicted with respect to her. And even though vindictive prosecution motions are very, very hard to win, we've already seen Abrego Garcia have a ruling in his favor, granting him discovery. And I think we'll see the same thing happen in the James Comey case. I think we will certainly see that if Letitia James is indicted. I think we'll see that there as well, because it's not rocket science to say, what did James Comey and Letitia James have in common? And why would they be targeted when there is reporting, including in ProPublica, that there are current people in Donald Trump's cabinet who have the same or similar mortgage issue. So that this is the antithesis of the rule of law, and it really strongly suggests targeting, which goes to the heart of vindictive prosecution.
Director Brennan, I want to bring you in on this. You are a
Hold on, y'all. Please hit the like button. I had it playing and then it stopped. Hold on.
perceived political enemy of Donald Trump. You have been
Political
targeted with
enemy.
threats of prosecution. I believe they believe that you are under investigation. I think the last time we talked, some of that was unclear. Tell me how this news lands, that a grand jury is hearing evidence that a Trump-appointed prosecutor didn't think met the lowest threshold of bringing a case against
a longtime political foil of President Trump's, has been indicted by a federal grand jury. That, according to 3 sources familiar with the matter. James was charged with 1 count of bank fraud after the president publicly called for his Justice Department appointees to bring charges against her. I want to get right to our Chief Justice and National Affairs correspondent, Kelly O'Donnell, who's been tracking this for us. Kelly, what do you know?
Well, good afternoon, Tom. This is a stunning development that is in line with what happened with James Comey, the former FBI director, in that the president has publicly identified both of those individuals as his perceived political enemies and wanting the Department of Justice to take action. In the specifics here, what we understand is that a grand jury in the Eastern District of Virginia has been presented evidence that relates to a 2023 home purchase, mortgage paperwork. And this follows months of investigation, which started from the Federal Housing Finance Agency. An associate of the president, Bill Pulte, had identified this and made a criminal referral. In that paperwork, Letitia James, it is her mortgage, but it was for a niece in Norfolk, Virginia. That is why we have a jurisdiction in the Eastern District of Virginia. That it was listed as a primary residence, but it is not the primary residence of Letitia James. In a lot of paperwork, it was apparently one document that reflected this. This criminal referral was responded to by James' personal attorney, Abby Lowell, who called it stale and not anything more than media reports. That was based on his notification in April. Today, as we understand it, a single count of bank fraud, a felony in this jurisdiction, will go forward for Letitia James, who is the statewide office holder in New York, the Attorney General. Clearly, it is important to point out that in her capacity, her official role, she brought state charges against Donald Trump when he was out
Personal.
of office for civil court in fraud. And now we have the Department of
Get back.
Justice bringing a single count bank fraud against Letitia James, Democrat Attorney General of New York. So it has specific consequences for James, her career, and her liberty. It has much broader consequences for the views of how the Justice Department is operating under the Trump administration. Is this something where a grand jury then hears the evidence only from, we presume, Lindsay Halligan, the appointed U.S. attorney in the Eastern District? The defense does not play a role in the grand jury proceedings. That is all very secret. So the next steps will be in court, where she's able to enter a plea, and the next steps of this process begin. So this is a felony case.
So how long
It's also
are
a
they going to
case
take?
where there are enormous political implications. So far, the White House has not commented. We've reached out to James' office, her official office, as well as her counsel. We have not heard back yet, but we certainly expect to in the coming minutes or hours. Tom?
Yeah, when we talk about that civil conviction against the president, he's going to have to pay, even though he's appealing right now, he and his family.
So he was found guilty of it. Y'all see that?
Of $300 million of fine to the state of New York. You mentioned that one document, apparently, that Letitia James filled out saying this was her primary residence. Her lawyers, and this has been reported out there, said they've provided other documents to show that she said this was not my primary residence. This was a clerical error, if you will. The court will decide that, right, Kelly? But at the end of the day, Letitia James is now going to have to pay for lawyers to have her day in court.
Well, it is always difficult, even when someone is ultimately found not guilty or if charges are dismissed. The weight of a criminal charge is always very heavy. And for Letitia James, her counsel tried to point out that this was not material that would merit charging. We believe that there was pushback within the Department of Justice about the strength of the evidence here. That will all be determined in the next steps going forward. But this is something the president wanted to see happen.
Yeah.
It has now happened, and James will have her chance to respond and
By
present evidence
coercion.
in her defense. It's
Coercion.
very significant, both politically and certainly we'll look at the specific facts of what is alleged here. You're right that there were many more documents involved in this, and apparently a single document that listed primary residence.
All right, Kelly, stand by for us. I do want to bring in senior White House correspondent Garrett Haig. Garrett, you heard Kelly mention there this is something the president wanted, and we know this because he told this to the American people. He put this on Truth Social, not only with James Comey, the former director of the FBI, but also with Letitia James. Tell our viewers what exactly he said there and what's happened since.
Yeah, Tom, you're looking at a post from late September, which reads like a direct message from the president to his attorney general expressing his frustration that some of his perceived political opponents had not faced the kind of criminal charges that he thought were due to them. This was around the time that he then turned around and installed Lindsay Halligan, who Kelly was just referring to as the interim U.S. attorney there in the Eastern District of Virginia. He refers to her in that statement as a tough lawyer who could get the job done, and calls for the prosecution of James Comey, subsequently indicted, Letitia James, indicted today, and Adam Schiff, the junior senator from California, not indicted as best we know, but I think certainly someone who we have to look closely at now, given the willingness of these Department of Justice prosecutors to follow through on the threats as conveyed by the president. This antipathy with Letitia James runs deep. Kelly mentioned the fraud case.
Sorry. Oh, man, I made it go away. Hold on.
First of all, Nicole, I love listening to Andrew Weissman speak about the law. He does it so well and very informative. And as Andrew knows well, the grand jury,
please double tap and hit the like button.
So well and very informative. And as Andrew knows well, the grand jury hears the representation from, in this case, Lindsay Halligan, as far as the alleged facts. It's a one-sided representation of the facts.
Right.
And quite frankly, I don't have confidence that all of the facts are being laid out in front of the grand jury. It's unsurprising.
Okay, so let me go back to where I was.
The award in that case has subsequently been thrown out by an appeals court, but the conviction is still withstanding, pending an appeal. The president, throughout the campaign and early in his term, regularly took to social media to attack and belittle James, suggesting that she was bad for New York and was some kind of criminal, accusing her of political prosecutions. That's now what the president's critics are accusing him of engaging in here. New York's Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul posting on her social media just a short time ago, Tom, defending Letitia James, talking about her independence, her relentless fight for justice, and suggesting that what we're seeing today is, quote, nothing less than the weaponization of the Justice Department to punish those who hold the powerful accountable. So the political shaping of this moment already well underway.
All right, Garrett Haig for us. We thank Garrett and Kelly for that. That's going to conclude this NBC News special report. We're going to have much more ahead on your local station, our streaming network, NBC News Now, online always at NBC News.
Shout out to NBC News. Okay, y'all, this is what is going on. This is what we are up against. Let's finish this, and I'll be back later. Let's go.
First of all, Nicole, I love listening to Andrew Weissman speak about the law. He does it so well and very informative. And as Andrew knows well, the grand jury hears the representation from
NBC. Did I say NBC?
As far as the alleged facts.
NBC.
It's a one-sided representation of the facts.
Right.
And quite frankly, I don't have confidence that all of the facts are being laid out in front of the grand jury. It's unsurprising, given that we know that Donald Trump
that day he was drunk with BB. Not gonna sue me. Okay. So why does Trump have issues with this man?
I believe they believe that you are under investigation. I think last time we talked, some of that was unclear. Tell me how this news lands, that a grand jury is hearing evidence that a Trump-appointed prosecutor didn't think met the lowest threshold.
These are Wisconsin cheese curds, bite-sized legends that are golden on the
against Tish James.
First of all, Nicole, I love listening to Andrew Weissman speak about the law. He does it so well and very informative. And as Andrew knows well, the grand jury hears the representation from, in this case, Lindsay Halligan, as far as the alleged facts. It's a one-sided representation of the facts.
Right.
And quite frankly, I don't have confidence that all of the facts are being laid out in front of the grand jury. It's unsurprising, given that we know that Donald Trump has been determined to carry out this revenge tour, identifying individuals and very.
I named the title just right, didn't I? I said revenge tour. Okay. Because that's exactly what it is. A revenge tour. That's exactly what it is. A president.
Facts. It's a one-sided representation of the facts.
Right.
And quite frankly, I don't have confidence that all of the facts are being laid out in front of the grand jury. It's unsurprising, given that we know that Donald Trump has been determined to carry out this revenge tour, identifying individuals and very publicly directing the Attorney General and others to bring charges. And the fact Trump has been determined to carry out this revenge tour, identifying individuals and very publicly directing the Attorney General and others to bring charges. And the fact that you had these professional staff members to carry out this revenge tour, identifying individuals and very publicly directing the Attorney General and others to bring charges. And the fact that you had these professional staff members of the U.S. Attorney's Office refused to bring those charges because there wasn't the evidentiary basis to do so, and then resigned because they didn't want to tarnish their integrity as well as their ethical requirements. And the fact that he had to bring in his personal lawyer from the White House to do this,
Hateful.
I think it just demonstrates that there's been a real corruption and perversion of the process here. So it's, in many respects, unsurprising. It is definitely disheartening in terms of what has happened. And just watching the Attorney General's testimony in front of the Senate the other day, it just demonstrates that she has total disrespect for any type of congressional oversight. And it was the most disrespectful testimony that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the Department of Justice has now been put like putty in Donald Trump's hands. So Again, I think, Jim Comey has, very good legal representation, the best that is available. I'm sure Letitia James is going to also have that legal representation. So I'm hoping that justice will prevail, and that even if grand jury charges are brought against Letitia James, like they were against James Comey, the truth will ultimately come out, and these individuals will be acquitted, exonerated. But the damage that is being done to our system, to the Department of Justice, I think is just, almost limitless in terms of that damage that is being done. And as well as it's not inconvenient for people who are being, charged. It is really quite damaging as far as, time, expenses, reputation, other types of things. But I think this is what Donald Trump wants to achieve. He was lashing back at individuals that he perceives to have harmed him in one way or another.
Wow. Despiteful. Okay, so y'all, let's get to what we are here for, and it is his own partners, his own playthings. Playthings, yeah, the people that were a part of the Epstein files with him. I mean, because we know that what he's doing right now is to avoid them files. So before everything come out in the wash, let me go and get these people who I know that's gonna rain on my head, laugh in my face, help to prosecute and all that good stuff. Okay, y'all, please double tap the screen on your phone and or hit the 3 dots at the top where it says, it should say top fan. There's 3 dots right there. You can hit that right there. And let's go. I mean, I'm gonna do a poll right quick. Vindictive, that should be impeachable. I mean, when is enough going to be enough? Okay, there we go. Please hit the poll. I don't think we should have to wait until everything explodes in our face or in the country to start the impeachment process. He needs to be impeached before it's too late and we all suffer. Yeah, because, I feel like he is setting the country up. I honestly believe at the bottom of my heart, with all my heart, that he is an enemy of this country. I absolutely believe it. So this is talking about Steve Bannon. He was one of the guys who was listed or that we know is in the Epstein files. And he was a part of Trump's cabinet, right? We know who Steve Bannon is. Okay. It said he just leaked information about Charlie Kirk.
Charlie challenged their power, and they made him disappear. And that is what's freaking them out the most. That's why they're in meltdown. They are. Charlie challenged their power.
Do we know who he is now? Steve Bannon leaked information regarding the secret of who assassinated Charlie Kirk. Y'all ready? Are y'all still with me? Can I get a 1 in the comments? Let me know it's time to go. Come on, good people. Give me a 1. Woohoo.
Power, and they made him disappear.
Say what again?
Charlie challenged their power, and they made him disappear.
He challenged their power.
And that is what's freaking them out the most. That's why they're in meltdown. They are scared to, because I think for the first time they see that there has been someone that actually made not just a political difference, but a deep cultural difference.
Steve Bannon just exposed who ordered Charlie Kirk's hit, claiming powerful insiders orchestrated the attack to silence Charlie's influence and dismantle his movement.
He's worried. He's pearl clutching over there about the fact that now you have, possibly a de-wokeifier at CBS, potentially in the future at CNN. And on top of all that, you've got Trump trying to save TikTok in a way that...
Don, what do you mean you don't see anything? Are y'all able to see? T-sippers, can y'all see? Don, you the first person who said you can't see anything. What do you mean? T-sippers, can y'all see? Oh, okay. Well, it's on your end, Don.
Claiming powerful insiders orchestrated the attack to silence Charlie's influence.
They are scared to, because I think for the first time they see that there has been someone that actually made not just a political difference, but a deep cultural difference.
Steve Bannon just exposed who ordered Charlie Kirk's hit, claiming powerful insiders orchestrated the attack to silence.
Okay, so Don, because you're new here, put all your questions on a super chat or super sticker so that you will not keep disrupting the message. I'm gonna read. Hey, Kane Life. Yeah, put it on a super chat, super sticker. Yeah, first you couldn't see, now you don't know who it is. It's in the title. Okay, put it on a super chat, super sticker. Let's go.
Silence Charlie's influence and
difference, but a deep cultural difference.
Steve Bannon just exposed who ordered Charlie Kirk's hit, claiming powerful insiders orchestrated the attack to silence Charlie's influence and dismantle his movement.
He's worried. He's pearl clutching over there about the fact that now you have, possibly a de-wokeifier at CBS, potentially in the future at CNN. And on top of all that, you've got Trump trying to save TikTok in a way that would wrest it from Chinese control and possibly make it more reasonable.
Gave it to Israel.
God forbid, even more open-minded to conservatives, because right now it is a far-left site. And he's very worried about that, Stephen. He writes as follows. While the MAGA right is on the verge of controlling the vast majority of the American media ecosystem, there are exceptions, but much of the corporate press is now too loyal to or too afraid of Trump to act as a true check on power. Yes, what would that be like to have an...
Don't wear these perfumes if you don't like compliments. Everyone has been talking about all of these perfumes.
Nobody wants that perfume.
Honestly,
let's go.
Entire media controlled by the same party that controls the White House and acting as a bunch of sycophants in service of him. I mean, like, the obtuse statement, like the cluelessness of this.
Steve asserts that these antitrust enforcers are real fire breathers inside Trump's Justice Department, determined to break up and control the media's power.
It absolutely is because of what they've done for decade after decade after decade. That being said, I'm a hardcore neo-Brandisian. I'm a huge believer in Lena Khan and what the FCC, the FTC, what these antitrust really fire breathers in Trump's Justice Department, trying to break up Google, trying to break up Facebook. I actually am quite concerned. I am concerned with, and Larry Ellison is a great guy. Oracle's done a great job, what they're doing. But to know that they're trying to buy Warner Brothers immediately after closing a quite difficult transaction, they're trying to buy Warner Brothers, the FTC, what these antitrust really fire breathers in Trump's Justice Department, trying to break up Google, trying to break up Facebook. I actually am quite concerned. I am concerned with, and Larry Ellison is a great guy. Oracle's done a great job, what they're doing. But to know that they're trying to buy Warner Brothers immediately after closing a quite difficult transaction, they're trying to buy Warner Brothers and CNN is, I think it has to be questioned. And then on top of it, TikTok. Remember, what we want to have is a system of actual free market capitalism. We don't have that today. The United States has corporatism. Our model, the Chinese communists, the Chinese did not become liberal Democrats, liberal free market Democrats. They became, on top of it, TikTok. Remember, what we want to have is a system of actual free market capitalism. We don't have that today. The United States has corporatism. Our model, the Chinese communists, the Chinese did not become liberal Democrats, liberal free market Democrats. They became, in the broadest sense, we became more like their model, state capitalism, or what I call corporatism. And the concentration of power, you see this every day.
Under Biden, media power is more concentrated than ever, and MAGA should stay alert to the growing push for regulatory control.
The one thing I tell people is different than the first administration, right? The second is that we have the greatest concentration of power under Biden in media, on Wall Street, and big pharma, and big medical, and the big tech oligarchs, in the defense industry. Though that power in Washington, trying to have regulatory merger, right, is something that we as MAGA and a populist nationalist movement have to be worried about all the time. And so I love the fact that conservatives are now coming, and we're giving them a little taste of what they've had for years and loved it, and the reason they're suppressing it.
It would be so hard if the other party controlled media while they control the White House. Welcome to our world. We've been living like this for 50 years.
Yes, and particularly fight for Obama. But we, as populists, always have to be on guard for the concentration of corporate and state power. That's something we're going to, and that's a fight that's internal to MAGA and the Trump administration, and I think that fight's going to get very big coming next year and up to the midterms.
That makes sense. Let me ask you this: the other piece of this.
Fight for Obama, but we as populists always have to be on guard for the concentration of corporate and state power. That's something we're going to, and that's a fight that's internal to MAGA and the Trump administration, and I think that fight's going to get very big coming next year and up to the midterms.
That makes sense. Let me ask you this: the other piece of this is like the leftist meltdown around the Jimmy Kimmel indefinite suspension. I mean, it hasn't even been fired. Is really at 10 out of 10. Like I said at the top, they actually are pretending that this is as serious and as big an event as what happened to Charlie. It's very strange. It's like weird trauma glomming.
I think it's a 12 out of 10. I've never seen anything like it. This morning on Morning Joe and CNN, it's full coverage. Everything else going.
You never seen nothing like it because y'all saw us come together. Not for left, not for right, not for black, not for white, but for freedom of speech. Yeah, so it was way bigger than Charlie. Our freedom of speech, let me say it again, no disrespect to no one, but our freedom of speech is bigger than Charlie. Okay? Let's be clear.
Like I said at the top, they actually are pretending that this is as serious and as big an event as what happened to Charlie. It's very strange. It's like weird trauma glomming.
I think it's a 12 out of 10. I've never seen anything like it. This morning on Morning Joe.
indefinite suspension. I mean, it hasn't even been fired.
It's bigger than
Really
Charlie.
10 out of 10. Like I said at the top, they actually are pretending that this is as serious and as big an event as what happened to Charlie. It's very strange. It's like weird trauma glomming.
Yeah, but lady, it was Trump and Israel who took out Charlie. It was MAGA who took out Charlie. You understand? Now how you gonna eat that apple? Yeah. It's gonna be a hard blow for you. You're gonna make excuses when the truth is right in your face. Yeah, it's bigger than Charlie. Ask them. Israel. Yeah, that fake BB, fake, yeah, him. Not gonna sue me. Yeah. He bigger than Charlie. Ask Trump. It's Israel first, remember? Yeah, you got it twisted. You done lied to yourself. You believe your own hype. Yeah, that's how you know that you are a part of a cult. You can know the truth and still go along with a lie.
Around the Jimmy Kimmel indefinite suspension, I mean, it hasn't even been fired, is really at 10 out of 10. Like I said at the top, they actually are pretending that this is as serious and as big an event.
And you acting like it wasn't his own
it's
people.
Like weird trauma glomming.
I think it's a 12 out of 10. I've never seen anything like it. This morning on Morning Joe and CNN, it's full coverage. Everything else going in the world, not important. They are literally,
So I want to ask you why.
The fact they can be fired.
Would it be this high if we hadn't just lost Charlie? Because they're scared. They know how angry we are. They know how mobilized and motivated we are. And is it a direct reaction to that? Would it be at a 12 if we hadn't just lost Charlie? Clearly at the hands of somebody infected with left-wing ideology.
Steve claims the left is terrified because, for the first time, someone like Charlie made a real, lasting cultural impact that challenged their dominance.
I think,
Do you really think that it was the left? I know you know, because you're a part of that Epstein file. Yeah, so what I think you are doing is doing the old switcheroo. You really talking about the right. But is it the right? Yeah, because see, you know, sir, Bannon, that Trump really is an informant. It really was Trump who told on Epstein. Yeah, because of that real estate deal. So when he told on Epstein, guess what that means? That means he told on you. You understand? When he told on Epstein, he told on you and the rest of the good old boys. So we're not going to play dumb. I think who you are describing is Trump. I think who you are describing is BB. Not going to sue me. Yeah, what is it, Netanyahu? Yeah, I can say his name. I just don't like to. Yeah. That's who told on you. And I know you know that. But your dumb ass, they just pass you around out here. Let's go.
it would be a 7 or 8, maybe a 9. I think it's 12. And the reason is they see the self-organizing nature of the commemorations of Charlie's.
See, this is why Candace is so perturbed. Because she knows that it was an inside job. She noticed. And they playing in her face and our face too. Wanting to blame everybody but the right people. So you're going to pass the buck and incriminate somebody else knowing good and dang well it was y'all the whole time. But carry on.
The individuals, but also the determination of these young people to carry on his work. and I think they see the streets of Korea. They are scared to, because I think for the first time they see that there has been someone that actually made not just a political difference, but a deep cultural difference.
See, to me, this is every reason why they had to take him out, because they know that it was about to shift, because he had denounced pro-Israel 2 days before. So all of these powers, all of this strength that they had with Charlie, they were about to lose. They were about to lose. He was about to jump ship. So everything this man is saying is true. But it's also telling you why they could not afford for him to just leave and go and represent the other side. Yes, indeed. Keep talking, Steve Bannon.
Of Charlie's, the individuals, but also the determination of these young people to carry on his work. And I think they see the streets of Korea. They are scared to, because I think for the first time they see that there has been someone that actually made not just a political difference, but a deep cultural difference. I think that's got them scared. And I think they feel if they don't put this down now,
double tap your screen, get the likes up. I need 50
Trump,
likes.
The regulators go after them, and also the free market capitals like the affiliate groups start responding to the consumers in their local communities where most of this is happening, right? Because remember, the affiliates, the owned and operated are New York, Chicago, LA, this. The affiliates are really out in the heartland of the country, right? The smaller stations. If they see this happening, they think that's a revolution. They think the barbarians have actually breached the gate. And so that's why they have to put it down now. I think the self-organizing response to Charlie's has been something that I don't believe it's ever happened in American history. It didn't happen in Kennedy. Didn't even happen, I don't think, in even Martin Luther King, right? This peaceful, just self-organizing vigils, etc. And they're scared to, that is raw political, cultural and political power. That's why they're at a 12.
I told you they was trying to make him to be a Martin Luther King. Didn't I tell y'all that? I'm glad I didn't watch this beforehand. I told y'all they was trying to make him to be equivalent of a Martin Luther King. With the hanging the flag, half staff, and how dare you have
just self-organizing vigils,
something to say about
that is
Charlie
Kirk.
Kirk.
Cultural and political power, peaceful, just self-organizing vigils, etc. And they're scared to. That is raw political, cultural and political. It didn't happen in Kennedy. Didn't even happen, I don't think, in even Martin Luther King, right? This peaceful, just self-organizing vigils, etc.
Now remember when Trump ran, whose files, whose conspiracies did he say that he was going to? Why is this? Huh? Whose conspiracies? Can somebody tell me who? The two of the three that he said that they was going to solve and they was going to open up them files is who they are lining, measuring, MLK, and RFK. That's who they was lining him up against.
It didn't even happen, I don't think, in even Martin Luther King, right? This peaceful, just self-organizing vigils, etc. And they're scared to. That is raw political, cultural and political power. That's why they're at a 12, not an 8 or a 9, which they normally would be. But Megan, they're irrational. If you've seen this coverage from the other when it first happened, all the way till this morning,
said the pedo in the Epstein files.
In talking about this.
Said the pedo in the Epstein files.
Exactly right. They're worried about the vigils across the world. They're worried about the 62,000 applications with.
Well, guess who y'all worried about? Y'all worried about what Candace Owens is exposing. Y'all worried about who in them Epstein files. Oh, now y'all worried. Y'all are worried about us finding out who actually took out Charlie Kirk. Y'all worried about us finding out that it was an inside job to protect the deals that Congress, Trump, and everybody else involved have with Israel. Fake Israel. Made up Israel. The 1948 Israel. The BB not gonna sue me. Israel. The genocide, Israel. Yeah, y'all afraid of that. Because once all of that is exposed, the human trafficking with them young girls and sending the immigrants over there in disguise for human trafficking, all of that's going to unfold. Yeah. Epstein gonna peel off that beard and mustache and them kissy curls and take that little black hat off his head, and y'all afraid that we gonna see that Epstein is still alive. Okay, hold on, let me show y'all something. Let me get to it. Hold on, I'm sick of looking at them. I don't want to look at them no more. Hold on, let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. Hold on. I got some marked for y'all. Yeah. They want us to be scared because they scared. Yeah, they don't know what's going on. It's just so much stuff that they thought was a secret is leaking. How is it leaking? Who has betrayed? Where is it coming from? How? What in the world is going on? Huh? Is it this one? Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. Let's go.
To rape our children. They can murder Palestinian children. This, right? Truth Social has their trending topics. That is literally Trump, the results here. And Trump is just taking it. Not only is Trump just taking it, he's also furiously tweeting out support for IDF soldiers, speaking out about what they're doing.
Yeah, I need 50 likes.
Plucking off Palestinian kids. The ICC criminal court issued a warrant for his arrest. And what does he do? He sits across from Donald Trump and he says, I, Bibi Netanyahu, am going to elect you for the Nobel Peace Prize. Because I should have say on that topic of who's been peaceful, and I decided it's you. Yeah, sure, 400,000 Palestinians are missing, as it's been reported, but who cares? I have so much power, somebody stop me. Did you guys see that clip? It's Bibi Netanyahu is electing Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. He's shameless. This is essentially a mass murderer showing up to the funeral of his victims. That's what we're seeing here. He's like,
hold on, what in the world?
And Trump is just taking it. Not only is Trump just taking it, he's also furiously tweeting out support for Bibi Netanyahu and the trial.
Oh, it's sitting. I got it sitting on it. I'm like, what in the world? Come on, y'all. I need for y'all to hit the like button. Thank you, Janet. My light is red.
He do? He sits across from Donald Trump and he says, I, Bibi Netanyahu, am going to elect you for the Nobel Peace Prize. Because I should have say on that topic of who's been peaceful, and I decide that it's you. Yeah, sure, 400,000 Palestinians are missing, as it's been reported, but who cares? I have so much power, somebody stop me. Seriously, did you guys see that clip? It's Bibi Netanyahu is electing Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. He's shameless. This is essentially a mass murderer showing up to the funeral of his victims. That's what we're seeing here. He's like, I did this, but I gotta see the results here. And Trump is just taking it. That it's you. Yeah, sure, 400,000 Palestinians are missing, as it's been reported, but who cares? I have so much power, somebody stop me. Seriously, did you guys see that clip? It's Bibi Netanyahu is electing Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. He's shameless. This is essentially a mass murderer showing up to the funeral of his victims. That's what we're seeing here. He's like, I did this, but I gotta see the results here. And Trump is just taking it. Not only is Trump just taking it, he's also furiously tweeting out support for Bibi Netanyahu and the trials, because even the Israelis are taking him through the court system due to his corruption, and there's no reason for Trump to say anything about those trials. But he's doing it anyways. Trump is not required by any stretch of an imagination to speak out about those trials happening in Israel, but he's doing it. Okay? Jeffrey Epstein is becoming this perfect example about how our reality is just being shaped for us. I feel like we're in a video game. You feel like we're in a video game. And we're maybe losing. And now, as we're starting to realize this matrix, it's glitching in front of us. And the people who created it are basically saying, haha, nana boo-boo, you can't do anything. They don't care because what are you going to do? And I want to be clear, the headlines today, yesterday, they have been unequivocal to Trump, right? They have said, your base hates this, okay? MAGA is splitting over this Epstein thing, left, right, and center. All of the publications, literally. Conservative ones, liberal ones, ones in the middle. Here are just some of the headlines making that very clear. Here's CNN. Trump is daring MAGA to oppose him right now. That's what it kind of feels like. It's a dare. Like, are you going to oppose me? I'm Trump. Washington Post, same thing. Immigration, Epstein, Ukraine, Trump's moves roil the MAGA base. This is Al Jazeera. Why is MAGA angry with Trump and Pam Bondi over the Epstein files? This is the Daily Caller, conservative. Dark forces at play. MAGA revolts over Trump's DOJ's Epstein findings. It's even trending on Truth Social, so we can't miss this, right? Truth Social has their trending topics. That is literally Trump's social media platform. And it's all regarding Epstein. Look at this. Epstein cover-up, Epstein client list, hashtag Epstein. And let's be clear, Trump won this last election decisively because many people on the left came over to the right. Why did they do that? For two reasons. One, because Make America Healthy Again, the MAHA movement, obviously RFK Jr. was significant with that. You know, moms were upset about this, everything that's happening with the CDC, COVID, but also because of the promise of no more wars. Everyone's tired, we have fatigue. Again, I'm gonna throw it to Cigar and Tucker that are discussing that. Take a listen.
The problem is the promise of MAGA is America first, and the contradiction is just too obvious. You can't.
Yeah, it's not America
if
first.
You're Joe Biden and you're, senile and it's being run by a bunch of sinister, shadowy figures in the background, and you do something like this, it's like, of course they're doing it. But if you get up and you say, we're going to restore greatness to this country, we're going to do it by putting our own interests first, that's what every country does. That's kind of natural, it's organic. And then you put the interests of a country of 9 million people above your own in a way that's just insulting.
Yes.
People can't deal with that. Like, their brains start to explode, and I think this is blowing up the coalition.
I actually, on our show, our producer went to the Bronx, AOC's district, and interviewed people who were AOC Trump voters. And the number one reason that we got from them was war. It was the promise to bring an end to the war, both in Israel and Gaza and in Ukraine.
So yesterday, as I said, the base looked at Trump and said, what the hell are you doing? Okay. And then Pam Bondi gets up there, she tries to tell us that they don't know if Jeffrey Epstein was working for another country.
What?
They don't know.
They what? They don't know? What you mean y'all don't know? Ain't he dead? Fred? Huh? What you mean? What you mean? They don't know if he's working for. Did y'all hear that with y'all good ear? Hold up.
Bring an end to the war, both in Israel and Gaza and in
Woo.
Ukraine.
So yesterday, as I said, the base looked at Trump and said, what the hell are you doing? Okay. And then Pam Bondi gets up there, she tries to tell us that they don't know if Jeffrey Epstein was working for another country. They don't know. They don't know if he was working for another country. And yet we know, all of us know, that he was working for Israel. But Pam Bondi and the state, they don't know that. But all of us know that. And now the question is, why can't Trump admit that? I want to be clear. Jeffrey Epstein sexually harmed children. Okay? How can you possibly not find the courage
For the ones in the back.
Israel? But Pam Bondi and the state, they don't know that. But all of us know that. And now the question is, why can't Trump admit that? I want to be clear. Jeffrey Epstein sexually harmed children. Okay?
because he would have lied again under oath when he told on Epstein. He lied and said that he didn't. He wasn't a part of that. I put him out of Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, I'm telling on him because he's about to expose my embezzlement. Yeah, so I got to beat him to it. So he told on his partner in crime. Oh yeah, she know and he know and everybody else, but he can't dare tell it because he will expose himself. That's why they are losing it. That's why when Charlie decided that, yeah, no, we need to release the files, all of them. That was one strike. Fooling with King. The second strike was him denouncing pro-Israel. Third strike was him saying, I'm going to bring her up and Tucker Carlson. Oh, that's it all, this shit. Oh, hell no. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. We can't have that. Yeah, that's why they unalive him. Let's go.
The state, they don't know that, but all of us know that. And now the question is why the state, they don't know that, but all of us know that. And now the question is why can't Trump admit that? I want to be clear. Jeffrey Epstein sexually harmed children. Okay? How can you possibly not find the courage to stand up and say the truth about who he was doing that on behalf of? The same country that factually protects American pedophiles if they move to Israel after they commit their crimes against children.
They do what? Girl, you lying. Baby, what? What? What you say? Candace on. Girl, I know why you had to send them 8-9 packages to them people that you really trust. What? So they hide them. So AunTeaFee been onto something. Huh? He over there. He got on a fake mustache, beard, and stuff, and them kissy curls up under that little black hat. He walking around in some foreign country somewhere, still operating for the CIA and intelligence, trafficking these immigrants. Like that man that went undercover and busted where they had them hotels that looked like they on a golf course, like they Four Seasons and shit, but they really are torturing minors. He's still operating that over there. Girl, you lying to me. But carry on. Carry on. The truth gonna set them free. You understand? The truth gonna set them free. Let's go.
Find the courage to stand up and say the truth about who he was doing that on behalf of. The same country that factually protects American pedophiles if they move to Israel after they commit their crimes against children. They're not stupid. Everyone is waking up to what Israel is. Everyone's waking up to the stranglehold that they have in our politicians, our foreign policy. And now we're going back and we're realizing that it's maybe always been this way. That our policy is essentially when Israel gets caught with its pants down, our government will still rush.
With their pants down. Like that man, that fake actor, George Zinn, that was carrying him with his pants down. Why, we don't know. He was a fake actor with no gun. Yeah. But now they say he's in jail under some pedo charges. Him, that same one? Yeah, because I'm gonna get ready to shut it down, y'all. Y'all can't get the likes up. I'm about to shut it down.
To defend them, as was the case with Jonathan Pollard, Trump, like we talked about this yesterday, granting this spy clemency. Are you kidding me? Take a listen to Tucker Carlson speaking about that.
I mean, let's take the case of Jonathan Pollard,
Hi,
who's one of
Cynthia.
the biggest traitors in the history of the United States for passing classified information on to the Israeli government. Prime Minister Netanyahu used to visit our soil and actively campaign and urge our presidents of the United States to pardon.
Oh yeah, I remember him. Yeah, we remember him. He was a spy.
Our government.
He was a spy. Yeah, the we pardon. Hold on. And then he went home. Trump is afraid he did say he would put Clinton in jail. He didn't even. He did. He didn't. They went to dinner. Oh, uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Government will still rush to defend them, as was the case with Jonathan Pollard, Trump, like we talked about this yesterday, granting this spy clemency. Are you kidding me? Take a listen to Tucker Carlson speaking about that.
I mean, let's take the case of Jonathan Pollard, who's one of the biggest traitors in the history of the United States for passing classified information on to the Israeli government. Prime Minister Netanyahu used to visit our soil and actively campaign and urge our presidents of the United States to
pardon. A spy. Just like that Venezuelan gang that they prime minister came over and made a deal with Trump. They rubbed elbows. He let him smell his funky fingers and shit for digging in his, you know. And then now he bombing. He was sending over immigrants to be tortured. Remember? They was cool. That was his friend. That's my friend. Good guy. Until when? Until they said, oh no, y'all could come get these people. We don't know what to do with them. They just brought them over here. And we waiting on him to tell us what to do. Yeah. Now he bombing the boats. Yeah, so why you let the gang of people go home? That was in Virginia. Oh, you thought I forgot? No, I didn't. Let's go.
That.
I mean, let's take the case of Jonathan Pollard, who's one of the biggest traitors in the history of the United States for passing classified information on to the Israeli government. Prime Minister Netanyahu used to visit our soil and actively campaign and urge our presidents of the United States to pardon Jonathan Pollard for betraying our country to his country.
Do you have any idea what they did with that classified information, those secrets?
Well, I actually have no idea.
They gave them to the Soviet Union.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And this was in the 80s during the Cold War. And
it was 1985.
It was 85. I remember it well. I lived in Washington. The full focus of the U.S. government was focused, was in opposition to the Soviets. And the Israelis gave a lot of that classified information from the U.S. Navy to the Soviet government in exchange for allowing refuseniks, Jewish Soviet citizens to move to Israel, which I'm totally for. I mean, I'm glad that they got out. I'm glad that they got out of the Soviet Union and made it to Israel. That's great. But they took our secrets and gave them to our main enemy, our really only global enemy. What?
Yeah.
So here's the picture that's emerging, ladies and gentlemen. The American policy is that Israel can do whatever the hell it wants. They can assassinate sitting presidents. They can steal our secrets and hand it to the enemy. They can steal our technology. They can blackmail our politicians and businessmen. They can protect those who rape our children. They can murder Palestinian children. They can steal land. They can blackmail sitting presidents. They did with Clinton. They can do deals, not just with the Soviet Union. They can do deals with Adolf Hitler and his Nazi party ahead of establishing themselves as a nation, as the Zionist group literally did with the Habara Agreement. Don't you dare ask questions about that, as we're all being called Nazis, strangely, by Zionists. So long as they say, at the end of all of that, that we did it to protect the Jewish state. That is effectively the American government policy. And I want you to know something else. You're laughing.
Okay. So this is my last time stopping to remind people how to double tap the face of your screen on your phone. Get the likes up. Hit the top 3 buttons on your computer in the chat section. It'll take you to the likes, or just hit the thumbs up. This is my last time. I need 40 likes.
readers is the best way to evolve my business and see what it is that they are excited about or need help with at any given time.
And before you build big trust, you got to start with small trust. And that small trust usually comes from a very small circle of people.
I think that there's part of humanity that needs to know that everybody has gone through something similar.
The name is just a start. Behind the name.
Laughing at you. They are laughing at you. Whether you're a Democrat, whether you're a Republican, whether you're independent, you are the end of a ha-ha joke. So long as they say, at the end of all of that, that we did it to protect the Jewish state.
Yeah, Tea Sippers, I'll be back later on tonight.
And I want to know something else. They're laughing at you. They are laughing at you. Whether you're a Democrat, whether you're a Republican, whether you're independent, you are the end of a ha-ha joke. And that's how it felt, by the way, when yesterday when we were discussing all of these things, we were discussing this sort of onion of deception, all of these layers that are happening, and in this moment, recognizing that this infiltration is not just in the White House. It seems like they're showing their hand in more obvious ways. The deception is being revealed. Places that we didn't even expect it, we're now recognizing, like in Christian churches. In case you missed this headline, the IRS, the state, has now decided that pastors can stump for politicians. Okay, this is a headline. The IRS says churches can now endorse political candidates. Now, why does that matter? Let me explain this to you. Churches do not have to pay taxes. They are 501c3. And so since 1954, there was a provision in the tax code that was called the Johnson Amendment that says that churches and other not-for-profit organizations, all of them, because you're not paying taxes, you will lose your tax-exempt status if you participate in political campaigning, because that's a conflict of interest, right? That's a conflict of interest.
Oh, they've been coming to the church.
It's not only that this group of Christians, national religious broadcasters, and several churches, they decide to sue the IRS over this rule, saying, no, actually that infringes on our First Amendment rights, our freedom of speech rights. The IRS came back in a court ruling and said, yeah, actually, you can, in good faith, if you speak out to your congregants through your customary channels of communication on matters of faith, in connection with the religious service, then that's totally fine. That passes. That flies, as long as you do it through the lens of a religious faith. Okay? Well, why don't we just get rid of the whole rule for all 501c3s? Why can't all charities then just stump for politicians? And of course, this is because they're going to let money fly to these pastors more openly, more in your face, not on a boo-boo, you can't touch us. And the IRS is now saying that these religious institutions are really just engaging in what's a family discussion, right? This is just a family speaking about these matters of faith, and it does not actually run afoul of the Johnson Amendment whatsoever. We know what this is about. Like I said, because we covered this on the show last week, Operation Mocking Pastor, suddenly for Israel. The churches, and I think probably not just now, but maybe always, have been infiltrated. I want to show you this, by the way, because we should have showed you more of this clip. This is an hour-long sermon. We are reducing this to 3 minutes. But it's important to listen to this pastor. His name's Pastor Meter. He's from Oregon. Because I want you to realize what they are referring to that they're saying is not a problem anymore, because you're speaking like a family. And Pastor Meter is about to give a quote-unquote sermon. And of course, it's going to be a biblical sermon. So I have my Bible. This is actually, I got a Bible from like 1880, because I'm going to follow along. It's going to be biblical, okay? Pastor Meter, take it away.
Well, let's get to it. Romans chapter 2 is where we're going to begin. One of the things that's happening right now with, speaking of the Iranian
Guess he's done with that. No more Bible talk.
bombings that happened the last few weeks and what have you, and Israel and Iranian proxies and the wars and all that stuff, it's caused a pattern of questions to come in concerning Israel and the Jewish people. Anti-Semitism is raging around the world. That's just a fancy word for hatred toward the Jewish people. The proxies of Iran have been bombing Israel every day for the past 30 years. Last time I was in Israel, 30 rockets supplied by Iran came across from the Gaza Strip into Israel. While I was there, 4,000 rockets. flew over the border into Israel while I was
4,000.
there. So the problem is people don't know their Bibles very well. And they don't know the nuances about the Jews. Who are the Jews? Who is Israel? That confusion was modeled very beautifully in a train wreck of a discussion between Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz, the senator.
Is the nation
They're the
God is
descendants of
referring
Abraham.
to in Genesis, is that the same as the country run by Benjamin Netanyahu right now?
Yes. Okay, this is the train wreck, and here's what you have. You have a Catholic in Tucker Carlson, who Catholics don't really know their Bible for the most part, and that's not even really encouraged to be a Bible student in Catholicism. Let the priest do all that stuff. You just love the Lord and go to church and Mass and stuff like that. But Tucker's asking some legitimate questions. And it is typical of the Catholic worldview, and maybe you're familiar with Candace Owens. Candace was someone 3-4 years ago I was so impressed by. Smart, articulate, generally, has a more conservative worldview, but she has gone off the rails. She is a full-blown anti-Semitic, Jew-hating person, and her theology is a part of that. She has gone off the rails on things about, she would say, Pastor Brett at 8th Creek, I'm demonic. She said that because she said these church pastors that are dispensationalists and they read the Schofield Bible. She, along with a bunch of other theologians like this guy from Big and Rich, one minute he's singing about feeding beer to your horse and your girlfriend. The next minute he's talking about his theology about you guys that believe in the rapture of the church and the pre-trib dispensational teaching, and John Schofield, John Rich is talking about the Schofield Bible, that is a horrible version of the Bible. Where did he student in Catholicism? Let the priest do all that stuff. You just love the Lord and go to church and Mass and stuff like that. But Tucker's asking some legitimate questions. And it is typical of the Catholic worldview, and maybe you're familiar with Candace Owens. Candace was someone 3-4 years ago I was so impressed by. Smart, articulate, generally, has a more conservative worldview, but she has gone off the rails. She is a full-blown anti-Semitic, Jew-hating person, and her theology is a part of that. She has gone off the rails on things about, she would say, Pastor Brett at 8th Creek, I'm demonic. She said that because she said these church pastors that are dispensationalists and they read the Schofield Bible. She theology is a part of that. She has gone off the rails on things about, she would say, Pastor Brett at 8th Creek, I'm demonic. She said that because she said these church pastors that are dispensationalists and they read the Schofield Bible. She, along with a bunch of other theologians like this guy from Big and Rich, one minute he's singing about feeding beer to your horse and your girlfriend. The next minute he's talking about his theology about you guys that believe in the rapture of the church and the pre-trib dispensational teaching, and John Schofield, John Rich is talking about the Schofield Bible, that is a horrible version of the Bible. Where did he get that propaganda? Well, it came really from this guy. Maybe you've not heard of Ian Carroll. He's a conspiracy theorist. Joe Rogan likes to put him on.
In the early 1900s, right around when the Federal Reserve was founded,
She laughing now.
the Balfour Declaration happened. Right at that exact same time, the Rothschild family hired this dude, this pastor in the Deep South. He made a new version of the Bible called the Schofield Bible.
I can't even begin to comment how much of an nincompoop this person really is. I'm praying for him because he needs to get some brains. This is horrifying. Everything that he said there was totally false. Just total made up, weird propaganda.
I can't make that up. By the way, it goes on for an hour. Let me tell you, you do not need to bring your Bible to what Pastor Meters, they put together a presentation. As you see, he tells so many lies. I mean, just in the beginning there, I was in Israel, 30 rockets, 40 rockets, 4,000 rockets, 4 million rockets just came in. It's just amazing. He tells us Tucker Carlson is a Catholic. Tucker Carlson is definitively not a Catholic. I never called this man a demon. don't know this man. John Rich is certainly not getting his ideas from Ian Carroll. What are we talking about? And of course, he doesn't even attempt to debunk a single word that any of us have said. I'm showing this to you guys because you have to wake up now, okay? I hope you're waking up in the same way that I have woken up as to what is really going on, because once you realize what's going on, you don't need anybody to clue you in anymore. There's like a bigger picture that's happening here. And like I said, that to me feels like we're being mocked. He's not even trying in that clip. He's not even trying for an hour to be anything else other than an arm of the Israeli government. And I have to